Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful sleeveless built-up collar neckline on the bust flayed gown you are seeing right here on the thumbnail and on the video. This is what I got right here. You can see how beautiful this dress actually looks. It looks so simple and gorgeous. Here is the underbust corset. You can see how beautiful it looks right there, and it fits into the underbust appropriately. Here is the built-up collar neckline. You can actually make your neckline deeper, or you can just make it the way I did. Here is the back piece, the buttons on the collar, the beautiful flayed gown. As you can see, I actually made my own flay, just have a circle. I don't have much of this fabric, so you can make it full circle if you want. I'll be sharing with you the tips and tricks to making this beautiful dress come out the way it is right here. So let's dive into this tutorial right away. To place your tape on the shoulder, and you are going to mark your chest line. Then you mark your waistline. So for my waistline, this is the back piece. I counted 2 inches above my actual waistline because of the bust dart technique. So I'm going to rule my shoulder line, chest line, and my waistline for the back bodice. Here is the shoulder, chest line for the back piece, and my waistline for the back piece. Here is the center back. Neck width is 3 inches. My shoulder divided by 2, I marked it on the shoulder and on the chest line. You come down by 1 inch for your shoulder drop. Connect it back to the 3 inches width of neckline. Mark a straight line for your armhole. Neckline depth is 1 inch for the back. I'm going to connect it this way. Then I'm going to get the midpoint of my armhole. I'll go in by 1/2 an inch. Then connect it straight to the tip of the shoulder as shown. On the chest line, I'll mark my bust divide by 4 and complete my armhole. Then we are going to come over to the waistline. Mark your waist divide by 4 on the waistline. Then you are going to get the midpoint. So after you have gotten the midpoint, I'll place what I have on the midpoint on the chest line too. This is just to get my basic dart. I'm going to rule my dart line 1 inch below the chest line. Then share my dart 1/2 inch, 1/2 an inch on each side, making it 1 inch dart for the back. This is my basic dart. We are going to use a basic dart for this dress for the back. Then I replace the 1 inch on the side too. Contour by 1 inch to avoid zipper bulge. So I'm using 1 inch to contour to avoid zipper bulge. Then I'm going to replace that 1 inch on the side as well. Then replace on the chest line too to avoid shortage before you close up the side. So the back piece is very much ready right now. We are going to cut it out. Don't forget to measure the neckline the way I'm measuring it right now. I got 3.5 inches on the neckline, and we are going to use it to draft the built-up collar neckline for the front. Since we are making a sleeveless dress, you are going to come up by 1 inch on the chest line, just to minimize too much armhole on the chest line. So I came up by 1 inch. Here is my new chest line. So the armhole, I'm going to recreate it into that 1 inch I came on top right there. So you close up this side and you redraft your armhole to the new chest line. So this will help your armhole not to be too wide. Next, you are going to cut out your pattern. So I want you to watch and see how I'm cutting off this back pattern right now. I'll go into the zipper contour line, into the neckline, to the zipper contour line. I'll just go ahead and cut it off. So the back piece is ready as it stands right now. So let's draft the front piece now. Here we are drafting the front piece. Here is the center front. So you are going to leave 6 inches before your starting line, which is your shoulder line. So from that point, I'm going to mark my chest line. From that 6 inches line, locate your chest line, your bust point, under bust, and waist line. Next, I'm going to rule my lines across. Here is my chest line, bust point, under bust, and my waist line. Neck width for the front is 3 inches. I'm going to mark 3 inches on the shoulder line. Then I'm going to mark a broken line upwards. I am going to measure the measurement of that 3.5 inches on the back neckline. I'm going to mark it on the broken line like this, 3.5 inches. Next, I'm going to mark a parallel line with the shoulder, and I'm going to mark 1.25 inches. Neck depth is 9 inches, but you can use 10 inches if you want. Then connect a straight line from your neck depth to that 1.25 inches this way. I am going to use my protractor right now. So I have a protractor on this pattern ruler. I'm going to place it the way you see me place on that line I just marked. And I'm going to locate 90 degrees. So if you don't have any protractor, you can just draw a perpendicular line the way you see me draw like this. The aim is just to get this 90 degrees. I believe you understand. On that line, I'm going to mark the width of my neckline. I am using 1.75 inches, which is 1/3 inches. Next, I'm going to place my pattern ruler on that 1/3 or 1.75 to the 9 inches neck depth this way. This is my built up collar neckline. Next, place your tape on the shoulder line right now and measure your shoulder divide by 2. Mark it on the chest line too. Come down by 1 inch for your shoulder drop and connect to the neckline. Mark a straight line for your armhole. Get the midpoint of that line and go in by 3/4 inch or 0.75 inches and connect to the shoulder this way. I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Remember, this is a sleeveless dress. We are creating a new chest line, coming up 1 inch like we did at the back, and then mark your bust, divide by 4, and connect your armhole as shown. On the bust point, you mark your nipple to nipple measurement or bust span, divide by 2 to create your dart. My dart intake is 0.75 on each side, making it 1.5 inches of my dart. Then I'll now go ahead to connect my dart as shown. Next, you are going to mark your waist divide by 4, replace your 1 inch dart. Then we are going to close up the sides. On the bust point, I'm going to mark my bust dart. My bust dart is just 2 inches. Okay, that is the difference between my front length and my back length. So I'll connect my bust dart all the way to the chest line like this. The front pattern is ready, but I just want to connect a princess dart. You can make your own a simple dart. From the bust point, I'm going to connect to the mid armhole. I came out by 1 inch to accommodate the princess dart. So this princess dart, I'm not going to put any darts, okay? You just connect it back to that new chest line. That is all. Now we want to contour the under bust. Coming over to the under bust, I'm going to take the measurement of my under bust circumference divide by 4. Whatever I have left, I'll put 0.25 in front and the rest at the back. Next, I am going to connect my under bust this way. From the bust point, I connected to the under bust, then from the under bust to the waistline as shown. You can use any underbust method that works for you, but this works perfectly for me. Here is my F1 and F2 pattern. Next, you are going to cut out your pattern accordingly. I'm going to cut into the armhole to the princess dart line this way, and I'll cut into the dart. Next, I am going to close up my bust dart. So I'll just cut into my dart this way and then closed up my bust dart as shown. After the bust dart is closed, next we'll continue to cut through the shoulder line all the way to the built up collar line. As you can see, I'm going to cut through the width of the built up collar neckline, then into the depth of my neckline for the front. Next, we are going to start drafting the underbust. Here is the center front of the underbust corset, and I'm going to rule a starting line. This starting line is my bust point. You are going to place your bust point measurement on that starting line. Mine is 10.5. Then you are going to mark your underbust. Mine is 14 inches and my waistline. Then I counted 5 inches below my waistline for the basque line. So here is the underbust line, waistline, and the basque line, which is 5 inches below your waistline. I am going to label those lines accordingly. On the waistline, you are going to mark your waist divide by 4. You can just remove half an inch from your waist divide by 4. So if your waist divide by 4 is 9.5, you can just mark 9 inches just to give it a little snatching, but this is all by choice. Now on the basque line, you mark your hip divide by 4. Then I'll mark my hip divide by 4 again because I want to mark the back and the front piece together. Here is the center back. Now I'm going to rule my line across this way from the front piece into the back piece. All the lines, I'll run them into the back piece. Then divide the front and the back piece. This part is the back pattern, while this part is the front pattern for the underbust corset. Next, you will bring back your front pattern. You can see that underbust. Align your underbust and your bust point accordingly. Then you are going to make a mark on the underbust line. Then you are going to mark on the basque line 1.5 inches and connect a straight line to that point. On the waistline, mark your waist circumference divide by 4, and on the underbust, you mark your underbust circumference divide by 4. Then we are going to connect them like this. Then connect it all the way to the hip line. On the side of this pattern, from the waistline, you are going to go down by 2.5 inches. On the center front on the basque line, you mark your nipple to nipple measurement divide by 2 and connect to the 2.5 inches on the side. The basque line, please come down a little bit by 1 inch or 1.5 just to have a very beautiful underbust line. Then on the underbust line, you are going to come inwards by 2 inches, 2 inches or 2.5 depending on your size. Then on the down part, you mark 4.5 inches or 5 inches if you are on a plus size. So I'll just mark 4.5 inches there. So you are going to connect the points as shown. Then extend your line to touch the curved line. So here is the underbust corset for the front, but we are going to mark the upper part of this corset. So you just step up by 2 inches this way, then go in by 3/4 of an inch from that other line. This is just to get a blend. We'll just blend in this way. Then I'll also blend in this way just to go into the underbust like this. At this point, I realized that this upper part is too high, okay, compared with what we have on the thumbnail. So I decided to bring it down a little bit. So I came up from the underbust by 2 inches, okay, just come up from your underbust by 2 inches. Initially, I came up by 3 inches. Sorry about the mistake. So just come up by 2 inches. That is the actual point to mark this and get it well. So I'm going to connect the line to touch that line. For the back piece, you are going to take all your width, your waist divide by 4, you mark on the waistline, your hip divide by 4, you mark on the hip line, and your underbust divide by 4, you also mark it on the underbust line. Now you are going to close up the sides of the back this way. The back is actually very simple. So for the lacing, I took 2 inches on the underbust and 1.5 inch on the hip line. Then I'm going to connect my lacing this way. Then I'm going to divide this my waistline that is remaining into three times. So I got 2.5 inches as my spacing, and I'm going to draw a straight line for them like this. At the center back, you are going to come up by 1 inch. You come up by 1 inch or 1.5. Then on the side, we are going to also mark the 2.5 inches. Next, you are going to connect from that 2.5 inches on the side all the way to the 1.5 inches. But I'm trying to adjust that part. I just want it to sit very properly. So I decided to remark 1 inch instead of 1.5 I marked earlier. So this is the back piece now. Then this is the upper piece. I am still looking at the down part. I just want this down part to sit very well. So I connected from the side to the basque line. I think it's better that way. So these are my loop lines. So you can decide to go with the broken line or with the other one. So I labeled B1, B2, B3 as the back patterns. So here I'm going to, on the waistline, I make arrows. I'm going to notch on those parts I put arrow. Then you label your upper size because this can actually be confusing. After labeling, it's time to cut out this pattern. So I decided to go with the broken line because I actually want this underbust to sit very well. So you can see how I'm cutting it off. Now this is unfold. This is F1, F2 and F3. These are the upper sides, so don't forget to label them for identification. So I continued cutting on the back side and continue cutting on the front side. So I'll just cut all the way and follow the 2 inches line we recreated. Next, I'm going to split these patterns now. After indicating the waistline, I'm going to split them this way. This is for the front piece. All my patterns are ready right now, so we will go over to the flake cutting. My fabric is damask and I use 3 yards of damask fabric. So here is the 3 yards and this is the 60 inches length. So I'm going to place the 3 yards on fold like this. After placing it on the first fold, then I'm going to pick it up from this folded part and make a triangle with it. So if you are creating this triangle, make sure you leave aside 1 inch for your zip allowance. After folding my fabric as shown, leaving the 1 inch for the zipper, I'm going to place my tape on the tip and I'm going to mark the radius of my waistline, which is 13 inches. Remember, I'm cutting half a circle. So this half a circle, I divided by 3.14. After cutting out, we are going to mark the length of the flare. So I'm going to place my waistline, which is 17 inches at that point, leaving half an inch above it. So I'm going to mark my length. My length is 45, but I added 1 inch, making it 46 inches. So I keep placing that my waistline measurement on the radius I just cut out. I'll keep marking my length of the gown. After marking, I'm going to cut out as shown. After cutting out the flare, I now use the remaining parts of my fabric that is remaining from the 3 yards to cut out my underbust corset and the front and the back piece. I also cut out the front and the back pattern pieces, but for the front pattern I just stopped cutting at this point because I want to show you how to cut. I added half an inch all around. So for the front, this is how I'm going to cut the built up collar parts. I kept placing my tape at half an inch like this. You can also mark it if you want. So if you look at that part, it's already unfold, so I cannot go deeper than what I have. So I just stopped at that point. Okay, so I'll just stop at that point. That is why I needed you to see how I cut it. Next, I'm going to make notches on the underbust, so I'll be able to sew the bustier accordingly. Next, I'm going to pad my bustier. So I always like to use my patterns to pad it. So I'll just create my bustier pattern here and cut my bustier. My wadding has been cut with my pattern. So I'm going to open it up and place the underbust line this way, secure with my pins at the back. I'm going to use my hairstay to finish it up. So for the side, I also placed my wadding this way, so I'll iron it up now, then sew the bust. After ironing, this is what I got right here. So this is the lining piece too, so I'll just go to the machine and join them. I'm done sewing my bustier right now, and I'm just cutting off on the princess dart line just a little bit. So next we are going to place right side to right side of the neckline. Make sure you secure them with your pins and stitch. After stitching, you go ahead and make notches on your neckline very appropriately and flip all your seams on the lining and top stitch. For the back piece, I've already created my simple darts like I earlier told you. That is my basic darts, and I iron them appropriately, including the lining too. Next, we are going to sew the neckline right now. So I brought in the back and the front piece, laying them right side to right side. So make sure you leave half an inch at that corner before you secure with your pin. So we are going to use that half an inch to sew the collar line that way. So I will secure with my pin, and I will go over to the machine to stitch half an inch. Here on the machine, I will stitch half an inch all the way to that point I left half an inch. So once I get to that point, I'll raise my presser foot this way. You just raise it up this way and face the direction of the collar line. So I'll go ahead and stitch all the way down. So at that junction, you need to raise it, and if you raise it, you will see the other part coming out a little bit pointy. So don't sew to the end. You can leave like 2 inches, and you can see the half an inch remaining. That is for what? For the button loop. Okay, the 1 inch is for the zipper and the half inch is to sew the button. You understand when we get to the sewing. So this is what we got right here, and this is how it's going to look at the front side. So you can see the 4 corner edge. So if you are not having it this way, know that you are not correct. You can rewatch the video again to understand it better. After that, I'm going to make a little notch at that collar line. Just make a little notch and open up your seams and give it a good press. This is what I got after I'm done sewing. You can see how beautiful the collar is sitting with the front and the back. Next, we want to sew the sleeveless armhole. So you just open up your seam line with 2 inches, both the lining, open it up at 2 inches. I'm going to share with you the tips and tricks to sewing this appropriately. Make sure it's 2 inches. So you flip it to the wrong side right now, and we are going to place a notch at that. Here I am placing a notch exactly at that 2 inches line. I'll also put the lining together the same way, measure 2 inches right there, and also place a notch. So you understand why we are doing this. It's just to have a neat sleeveless finishing. Now after placing those notches, so you can see what we have right there. Next, we are going to bring in the right side of the dress, match it right to right, lining and fabric. Go ahead and stitch in your half an inch for your sleeveless line. Then for the back, you also place it right side to right side and stitch in half an inch. So you are going to place notches on the armhole, then flip all your seams to the lining and top stitch. This is what I got after I'm done sewing the sleeve line. So I'm going to pick it up this way, then secure with my pins on that seam line. You make sure the seam lines are matching as you're securing with your pin. So once they have matched, you continue from where the stitches started and you run your stitches across into the lining like this. This is what I got after stitching. So if you turn it to the right side, you can see how neatly finished our seam line looks like. So I'll now give it a good press. Next, I'm going to put them right side to right side, both lining and fabric, and I'm going to shape in the size of my dress. After sewing the upper part, this is what I got right here. So now I'm going to sew the flare part of this dress. I've sewn the lining and the flare part. I also cut the lining 180 degrees. So this is the neckline. We want to sew the button loop. Before sewing the neckline, I'm going to first close up the zipper line, that is 9 inches from the waistline. Then I'm going to close up both the lining and the fabric. So after I'm done, we are now going to sew the loop on the neck. Just cut out a piece of fabric for the loop, so that is where I'm going to sew my loop. The loop width is 1.5 inches, so I'll just fold it in and stitch on it. Here my loop is ready. So my loop measures 3 inches, that is the button loop. So I'll just fold it this way, and on that midpoint I'm going to place my loop and stitch it. After stitching in the loop at 1/2 inch, this is what I got. So to get this part properly sewn, I'm going to open up this a little bit more. After opening it up, I'm going to flip it right side to right side. At that point my stitches stopped. I'm going to make a notch. After making this notch, next I'm going to sew 1/2 inch. After stitching, I'm going to turn it to the right side. So this is what I got. Now I'm going to place the collar right side to right side. Just put it in between the lining and the main fabric, and we are going to stitch at 1/2 inch. After placing the collar in between, I'm going to sew 1/2 inch, but please don't sew up to the zipper line. This is what I got right here, and you can see the zipper 1 inch. So I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. After sewing, this is what we got for the neckline. So the 1 inch remaining here is for our zip. Now I'm going to mark 1 inch on the fabric alone, because I want a perfect inseam finishing at this point. So I'll just mark 1 inch all the way down on both sides. After marking my 1 inch, I'll go ahead and sew my zip. I am done sewing in my zipper only on the fabric. So I'm going to put my lining right side to right side now, and I'm going to sew following the existing stitching line on the fabric. Zip is very much ready, and this is the button loop. So this is what it looks on the front piece. It's time for us to sew the underbust corset. So these are the underbust corsets arranged the way they should be. You are going to make notches on the waistline the way you see me make. These notches are very important. In fact, I'm going to notch all of them on the waistline as shown. Then we'll begin to join the pieces. I'm going to take off the patterns right now for the fabric alone. So I added 1/2 inch all around, both for lining and for everything, half an inch everywhere. So I'm picking up the lining and I'm going to match them on the waistline. I'll pick the other one, I'll match it on the waistline this way. So I'll set the lining aside for each one I match. For the other one, the next one, you also match it, continuing from where you stop. The other side that will be on the left hand side, you also match it on that notch. This is the pattern we are going to use to pin all of them. So I'm going to also pin the sides. This is the back piece right now because I'm done with the front. For the back piece, you match it to the side of the front piece. Do the same on the left hand side and set your pattern aside. Make sure you are keeping the lining pattern very well because this part can really be confusing. So I kept matching it on the waistline like that, right side to right side, continuing with the ones I've already pinned, and keep setting my lining aside. So this is what I did until I got to the last one. So here is the last one, which is the part that have the loop. I'll go ahead and match it like that and set the lining aside appropriately. Now I will go over to the machine. I'm going to stitch all of them together. After stitching all the underbust, this is what we got right here. I gave it a very good press. So I'm going to trim off all these little excesses we have, just these pointy parts. Now we are going to mark out our loop, our corset loop at the center back. So you mark 1/2 inch first for seam allowance, then you are going to space it at 1.5 inches. So I'll keep marking 1.5 inches spacing till I get to the end of it. I'll mark the same on the other side too. After marking this part, I have to put it together on the other part. I will just use a notch to notch it in. I am going to prepare my loop. My loop width is 1.5 inches. I'll fold it in this way and the length of my loop measures 2.5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and cut 2.5 inches of my loop. I'm going to cut 6 pieces because that's what I have on one side. Then cut another 6 pieces for the other side, making it 12 loops. Here on the machine, I want to show you how to sew my loop. So I'm going to fold my loop this way. You have to make sure that your finger comes out of it like this. So I'm going to place it on those lines I marked. I'll keep sewing. After sewing the other one, I'll place the other on it. I'm stitching the loop at 1/2 inch. Right here, I'm sewing the last loop right now. After stitching, this is what you're expected to have. So we are going to prepare the lining. The lining, I'm using my Regling boning. That is my sewable boning. So I'm going to sew this way. On the machine, you are going to flip all the seams on one side, making sure you left 1 inch on top for seaming the sides. Then you are going to also cut off 1 inch above and you continue stitching. I'm going to stitch the both sides of the Regling boning this way and close it up like this. So this is how I'm going to sew all my Regling boning. After sewing, you have something looking like this. Then you go ahead and give it a good press. Next, you are going to place it right side to each other and secure with your pin. Make sure I pin at each point of those lines. I'm going to pin the line and the fabric at each point. Next, I'm going to place my Regling boning on the loop side. This is how I'm going to sew at the center back side. You place it just like this, making sure you go down with 1 inch. Remember, 1 inch. Then place this exactly on the side like this, leaving the seam allowances. I'm going to stitch all the way down. After stitching, this is what I got right here. So next, I'm going to sew the down piece. I'm going to sew the down piece all the way round, then leaving a little space to turn it. After stitching the sides, this is what I got. So I decided to add a boning at the center piece to make it a little bit firm. I left a little space in here just to turn it to the right side. So I just go ahead and turn everything to the right side. So I just left 2 lines so I'll be able to turn it accordingly. So I'll just put in my hands this way and I'm going to turn everything to the right side. For this little space right here, I'm going to show you how to close it. I can use my hemming gum or I can tack. but I'm going to flip this right side to right side and stitch to the extent I can. Then I'll use my hemming gum to finish it up. So I'll finish it up right now. So this is what I got at the end of the day. You can see how beautiful this corset looks like at the end of the day. Here is my hemming gun which I used to finish it up, and this is my rope for the looping. So once I wear the dress right now, I'll just loop it the way you saw it on the thumbnail and in the video. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.